hello, or again, or for the first time, I don't fucking know. Anyway, so after the last two videos that were kind of like calls of fucking desperation, right? I wanted to waste my resources on something for fun, right? So I built Park Heejin. I think that's how you call it. It doesn't matter. So anyway, so welcome back to the kitchen and you know, all that chopping block bullshit, right? Here it is. Okay, so this time I'm actually bringing the character somewhere different. So I'm gonna do tier 4 of Battlefield of Time. I'm not gonna do a full clear. In case you're wondering, I got like tier 5 with this team, right? Keep in mind, right, this may not look that good, right? But everyone is using pretty much the same fucking team for this. Don't pay attention to the first guy. He's a fucking giga whale. He has like 350k power, some bullshit like that. He has like twice the amount of power I have. Anyway, I feel weird running these two characters. I don't think these have ever been seen. Oh, actually, yeah, no, I don't think these have ever been seen on the leaderboard before. So yeah, let me get into it. So I'm gonna be using this team, right? Can't really see her. This is how she looks like on the surface level, right? That's besides the point. The reasons why I'm using Ana, right? The only reason why I'm using Ana here is because Ana is built as basically as a support, and she has power acquisition set, so we can charge you know, our ultimates faster. And the third slot can literally be anything. It doesn't matter. Like, it literally can be anyone. So let me get into it. So normally I wouldn't start with the ultimate, but this time we're starting with the ultimate because of her advancement 5. So let me just get into it. So her ultimate normally is 45 seconds cooldown. As you could see there, it was 8. And couple of skills. We're casting it again. You get the point, right? This character is a little bit stupid like that. So basically, I can ult again. I love this shit. So yeah, so let me switch to Ana, right? Ana would have started with 50%, but because I cast skills on Park, right, she already has 100%. Choi, he is like standard damage, so he's not fully charged yet. But I'm ulting on him now as well. Now, her QTE, right, is that's one of the worst QTEs ever. The only good thing it has for it is that it has high iframes, but it's very short range and the damage is non-existent. I'm ulting on her again, by the way. Now, her skills, right, her Q is decent. It's literally just damage, but it does suck enemies in. So if you're fighting a group of enemies, it cleans them up really nicely. Her E is pretty bad because it's stationary, you see, like, it's not that good, and the damage scaling on these is not that high. Her auto attack and core attack is also pretty shit damage. Like, her skills aside from her ultimate are kinda average, but they do serve a purpose in the fact that if you have her advancement 3, I think, each cast charges the powers bar by like, what was it, 10%, I think. So yeah, basically by spamming skills on her, you get your ultis faster on the other character. Look, I didn't even play those characters and they have their ultimates on. So you get the idea, right? I'd clear the whole thing, but unfortunately it takes a while. So her support skill, right? I'll be honest, it's kinda decent. Like it's not amazing, right? Like charge wise, it does have the other upside of you know, actually giving like damage to your ultimate, like I think 15%, some shit like that. So the most of it is like basically if you have a character build that is centered around using your ultimate a lot, right, this could actually work really well. In other cases, it's like I'll be honest, even here, right, it's like I don't feel like it's significant enough. Like now if I use it, it should probably Well, it won't charge me up alone, but with my skills together, it should probably bring me up. It did not. So, it's decent, but, you know, aside from singular use case where you want to charge your ultimate as fast as possible, it's not really that worth it to use. Now, you may wonder how to build her, right? So, I'll be honest with you, right? This is how my looks. I invested a little bit for my level, I guess. Like, it's not the most I could have invested, but it already put me at the border of being broke. So, you know, whatever. Like, the reason her HP is so high, firstly, because of the book. Secondly, because I didn't really get that lucky with building attack on her. Her attack is honestly way too low. I feel like if you really wanted to utilize her as a proper damage dealer for this kind of level, you'd have to bring it to like maybe 6k, maybe more. You know, it depends. You know what your resources allow or whatever. Now for her gear, right? I'll be honest. I feel like there's only real one viable option for her gear, and that's this set. Simple reason, because of the skill cooldown. Are there other viable items? If you really want it, right? But this is like, I wouldn't recommend this unless you can build her for the almighty fucking set, right? I wouldn't recommend going for others. You could use, if you're trying to build a support or something out of her, right, that boosts gauge, right? I'd say you could use this, but it's a little bit redundant because the 50% start, right? It doesn't really work if you have like the 5th advancement, because the 5th advancement starts her with full bar, right? So this is dead if you're using her as a hunter. She could still work in the, you know, in the main character's party, but I don't know, like only if you're planning to use her as a support do I recommend this. If you just wanted to build her just there to have her, right, and you don't have the almighty set, you can go standard attack or standard crit rate, right? Those work. The other sets I wouldn't recommend it, obviously, because she doesn't do break, and this is you know, this doesn't make sense like at all. Although to be fair, there is another option of going dragon set. The reason for that is because of her advancement 3. So basically her core attack works like a skill that charges gauge. So if you spam her core attack, you know, you could realistically get some use out of that. But honestly, if you have to rely on dragon set, right, you have already probably fucked up like 10 steps back. So not recommended. As far as my own gear goes, is I opted mostly for crit rate. Ideally, what you want to look for her, right? If you're building her for crit rate, right? You'd want to look for crit rate followed by attack by crit damage, and then defense penetration and damage increase. But you know, so I didn't have attack percentage on her hat, sadly. So I just went with flat attack. The crit rate, the attack percentage. This one is literally just for crit rate because the other options are bad. Gloves, same deal, really just for crit rate. The damage increase is also nice. And boots, I didn't have crit rate, so I just went attack, defense penetration, and obviously crit damage most obviously. That's really it for that. For the accessories, it's an interesting topic really, because if you're using her as a support, right, I'd recommend going aquamarine. If you're using her as a damage dealer, there could be arguments made for anything, right? If the fights are very short, right, viridescent. Like for short fights, if you're using her in spaces where you know, you can quickly kill the enemies, right, viridescent works. The thing is, right, her she doesn't have that many mana issues in short fights because her skill costs are pretty low and her mana pool is decently large enough. The problem is if the fight becomes longer, like for example in the tier 4 there, I started running out of mana at one point because, you know, it's a drawn out fight. Now, for drawn out fights, I definitely recommend Beast. The problem with Beast is, right, for short fights, it's worse than Red Eye. Because Red Eye, to fully stack it, essentially, you would need like 4 seconds, right? You get 20% buff after 4 seconds. For this one, you need, I think, like 16. No, wait. Is it 16 stacks? It's like 15, 16 stacks. I don't remember. I'll put the number in the corner somewhere. But you need way more stacks, and that obviously translates to 1 second each. Obviously, it scales much better than Red Eye because, 100 times is basically indefinite in comparison. But you have to be basically always using her to fully utilize that. Behemoth, it's interesting because this one doesn't do anything for your first ultimate, basically. It only starts doing something after 70%. And it doesn't give us much damage as the other ones, but this one is basically just passive, so you could use that. Skeleton is probably the one I'd not recommend like at all, because you intentionally need to take damage on her to get use out of this. It's decent 30%, but then you have to waste time at the start basically taking a beating. For a drawn out fight, it's definitely decent, but it doesn't scale as good as Beast, for example. So yeah, if I had to, recommend these, I'd say for support, Aquamarine definitely. For short fights, Viridescent. Also, Red Eye works for short fights as well. For long fights, I'd say go Beast, followed by Skeleton. Now her weapon, right? I'd say the thing is, right, that depends what you want to do with her, right? If you want to have fun and spam ultimates, right, the book is the only option, really. Like, the thing is, right, the book gives nothing for her because HP, right? She doesn't scale from HP, so her damage doesn't increase from this. But the thing is, right, this is the reason why I could basically ulti on cooldown. If you do want to use her for damage, right, you have kind of two options. If your crit is on the low side, I'd say go longsword. If your crit rate is at 50%, right, I think 50% is like a soft cap. I'm not sure how it works because like it's denominated in yellow. I think it might mean that it's like a soft cap, so it doesn't really scale past that, which is kind of stupid, but okay. So if you have a crit that's like 50%, right, or higher, I don't know how that works, you can go with crit damage bow. This is what I try to use at the start, right? She definitely does more damage with this because obviously crit damage plus attack, right, it scales better on her, but you don't ulti quite as much. There's like definitely a follow for the crit ratio. Now her advancements, right? So her advancements are an interesting thing, right? Obviously, I'd say if you don't have advancements on her, right, don't build her like whatsoever. Like, she is one of those characters that need advancements. Like, every advancement is big. Straight up, every advancement is big on her, right? So, to start with, right, the cooldown of Windstorm, right? All of these, right? They're fucking additive. You know what that means? Like, you start with 30% reduced cooldown. Her ultimate is 45 seconds. You get 10% here. You're at 40%, right? Now, this artifact set also gives 40%. You have 80% cooldown reduction. That's why you saw 8 seconds on my ultimate. Because, I got the reduction from all of these sources. So it just ended up being so much more lower. Her advancement 1 is good when she's played as a support. Removing debuffs is pretty nice, especially like considering when there's places where there's poison. The Windstorm, already explained it. The cooldown for ultimate spam is amazing. This one is what makes us even better as a support for power gauge farming. If you have a team that's like prepared to spam ultimates with the Almighty set, right? This is really amazing. This one is simply good because, her damage is not really all that. And this one, Advancement 5, is honestly the most optional one, right? Because it doesn't make much of a difference if you start with your full ultimate or not. But if you want to clearly clear out a room, it's really good. Now, would I say that she's worth building? For fun? Yes. Seriously? No. There's, let me put it this way. There's no content where she's necessary, right? You can go the entire game without even fucking looking at her direction, right? She's not better than the meta units. But is she fun? Does she have niche uses, and can you build her in specific teams and make it find great success? Absolutely, she's like really fun to use, right? Like if you want to make an ulti spamming team, right? She's like one of the best options. The problem is, right, I didn't really have resources to make like a true ulti spamming you know, team, so I just went with what I had, right? And you could already see, like, from the basically the clip at the start, right? She spams her ultimate, and even her team's ultimates, right? The only problem is, right, her team's ultimates are kind of cucked by the cooldown time, but other than that, she's really good. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, right? I could have probably showed you more clears, but I was too fucking lazy to put that all together and do comparisons and shit. I am low effort like that, okay? So yeah, I have a good fucking day, right? And maybe next time, when I'm not quite as broke, I'll build some other obscure SR that you may or may not watch. Okay, bye.